Hi, everyone. It's Grant Abbott speaking. It's 4th of February 2020, and thank you all for coming to this session where we're going to be looking at LightYear Docs. I'm going to do a flyover. I'm going to give you some ins and outs, but we're not going to have a huge amount of time because we're going to go through the investment strategy. I'm going to show you exactly where we're at the moment and even where we're at with that at the moment. It's a very, very sophisticated document. But we've then got a whole lot of other iterations coming for where you might have more than 90% in cash, where you might have more than 90% equities, or more importantly, you're running reserves. You need to have a reserves strategy, so under Section 52B2G. So that's our next iteration, or that'll be released later on this week. But we're continually developing, building this business. And since May of last year, we're now up to our 75th document, around about 6 automations. We're about to tick over this week to our 500th user. So things are moving pretty quickly and certainly along the right way. I want to take you though, I'm going to show you just some of the brief documents, things like companies, fixed trusts, family trust, discretionary trust, our leading member suite. I'm not going to have time to go into it all. I'm going to show you where you can find out a lot of that sort of information. But I do need to show you the moat, which provides, it's the next level for advising. For those of you who've been listening to or reading my emails, look, I've done SMSFs. SMSFs are a very mature market at the moment. And over the next 20 or so years, I see all of us, whether we're going accounting or we're going into that planning space, that we're there to do private and family wealth protection for our clients. And that means not only SMSFs, but also discretionary trusts. We're building a whole system around that. I'll cover you off on that in a moment. So that's a very exciting area. For those of you who want to know a lot more about that space, get accreditation as Succession and Estate Planning Advisor. I'm having a 2-day conference up in March on the 23rd and 24th up here on the Sunshine Coast. So we'll go through that. The other one I'll look at is the Protector. Again, it's a great asset protection model. You'll see the philosophy that we work on is when a client dies, we don't want anything left in the estate. Primarily, we'll still do wills and testamentary trusts for them. You can do that through the moat. However, at the end of the day, if you leave anything in the estate, it's subject to the Family Provisions Act. For example, under the Succession Act in New South Wales, ex-wives, for those who know me, that's the last thing you want, can all make a claim. In fact, if we have a look at Kelly's case over in Western Australia, they investigated a spouse who had been, they'd been divorced for 25 years ago. The marriage was actually annulled because she had actually married someone in the Philippines, or she's still married to someone in the Philippines. They still did an investigation to see if she wanted to make a claim on the deceased estate. So with the lawyers putting their handiwork inside this area, it's certainly a great opportunity for all of us to step up to the plate and really make a big decision. As Ash said, there's only 4 tickets left, unfortunately. We will end up streaming the 2 days there. We've had a lot of interest from regional people, but we want to get you accredited once you get up and running. Anyway, let's move on and have a look. It's going to be pretty fast-paced. Now, first of all, it's not about documents. Look, you can go to Clear Docs, you can go to Now Infinity. I forget Aaron Dunn's one. Look, there's a whole lot out there. You can go and do your documents. So you can get your discretionary trust, you get this, you get that. You don't necessarily know whether they're very strategic or not. You really, unless you read in depth and understand the law, you don't know what you don't know. Most of them have been signed off by lawyers. Some of them have, some of them haven't. You've just got to be really careful that if you are committing to a document provider, that they do have a legal firm that's embedded within that firm. For example, with LightYear Docs, we have, I'll show you a slide a bit later on, but we're very closely aligned with Abbott-Family, and I'm obviously one of the strategic partners at Abbott-Family, so that with LightYear Docs, you know that we're always going to be there. So you don't have a problem, for example, which was faced by Now Infinity recently, where View Legal pulled their legal sign-off from the Now Infinity crew and are now going and talking with specific clients. In fact, we've probably only signed on 4 Now Infinity users last week. to the LightYear Docs site. But again, it's not about documents, it's about these 6 things. And look, I've been around the industry for a long time, doing tax since 1983, so I've seen a lot of changes there. First off, as I said, you must have legal sign-off, absolutely crucial. If you don't, then you are essentially exposed. A couple of things there, and I'll talk about Abbott-Family a little bit later on, but you not only need legal sign-off, you need to make sure that when you are doing the document, you're not giving legal advice. Otherwise, under various state law, you can obviously get into a bit of trouble on that one. So we'll look at that a little bit later on. Again, it's not the documents all, it's but the strategy is going to win the day. So for example, in the LightYear Docs, as I said, we've got 75 documents and strategies. A typical one that came out of our client queries, what happens is someone said, look, can you do this? Can you do that? I'd like to have a loan going from an SMSF to an external party. And they weren't related at all. So what we did is we've got our general loan package suite. We've got our Div 7A, which is also undergoing quite a big transformation, waiting on all the big changes that are coming on 30 June 2020. So we'll embed all of that. It's always a constantly moving feast. But in this instance, we had a SMSF loan. So we built that into a special package. And then we took it to the next level. So that an SMSF is lending to a third party. And obviously, when they lend to a third party, we're going to have a loan agreement. We obviously have to have all the requisite parties. We also then need to have a mortgage deed. So a mortgage or a PPSL registration of an interest there so that the SMSF is protected. Because if you just simply do a loan agreement, then really you're exposing your client trustee. Now, we've then extended that further because one of the areas, Section 65, doesn't allow you to lend to a member, but you can lend to, for example, a family trust, or alternatively a family company or a bucket company. So we can go through that process of doing that, but again, you definitely are going to need to have a mortgage deed and also potentially a personal guarantee. It might be a bit difficult because you've got obviously a family trust or you've got a family company, but you need to have those 2 documents embedded in there, potentially also PPSL. So, but obviously if there's a property there, which is embedded in the discretionary trust or the family company, then we can do a mortgage over those. But we definitely need that, and then T's and C's or terms and conditions to show that it's arm's length. And of course, we've got to make sure that it extends, if it's to a related party, no more than 5% of the assets of the fund. But a great strategy if we're looking at grandparents inside the fund or parents inside SMSF who want to then go and provide a deposit for children. And I did a big blog around this only last Friday. So some great strategies. But again, if you had a look at the strategy you tried to build, it's like, well, how do I start? So you'd have to go and get a loan agreement, make sure it's okay for an SMSF. Then you'd have to think about, well, I'm going to do a mortgage deed as well, and then start to put those together. So you'd have to fill one out and fill the other. Whereas what we do together, we look at the strategy, build the strategy, look at flow charting the strategy, and then from that, put it all in one. So, for example, our SMSF loan is only $99, but includes 2 quite separate legal documents there that if you went to a law firm, you're probably paying maybe $400 to $500 for each document. So it's crucial, and our technology is there to disrupt everyone else in the marketplace by building strategies. So for me, it's strategies that win the day. From that perspective is we can look at a strategy, say the moat, or we look at the protector. And the protector essentially, and I'll cover it a little bit later on, is a tool that's developed, and I've got to thank my good mate Tim Munro for this, is that essentially it's been around for a while. Effectively what it does is it pulls out equity out of everything you've got, whether it happens to be an Aston Martin, whether it happens to be principal place of residence, whether it shares anything in your own name, and transfers it into a trust. Now, it may be an existing trust, alternatively it could be a leading member trust. So a leading member discretionary trust is, again, I haven't got time to talk about it, but it's a whole suite of documents that we've built essentially to ensure that succession and asset protection going down the track. So we don't end up in a case like Kelly's case or whatever, where on death there's no future appointer, so everything gets caught up in the courts for years and costs a fortune. So we're building all of these sort of tools and strategies. And again, I will have a book out of this, hopefully by our March conference for that. But with the protector, you're going to see a little bit later on, there's around about 10 different documents potentially, but instead of having to go and say, okay, well, this is your flow chart, go here and then go there or go there. In fact, can you believe some accounting firms will go and do companies here, discretionary trusts here, and SMSF there, 3 different areas. And as soon as you do that, it's just dangerous. So the whole idea with a strategy is map it from woe to go, and then start to build all the documents for that. And I'll show how that works in the Protector. So we build in common parties. Once you build in the common parties, it's then very easy to flip through and do that within about 15 or 20 minutes. So something ordinarily that I've seen some lawyers charge up to $20,000 for, you effectively as an accountant or planner can do that within the space of time. The cost even for those 10 documents, because we bundled it all up, is no more than $450. So you can focus in on, it takes no more than 15 minutes, but for clients, you've got a good quick turnaround, you've got good deliverables, and effectively you can go out and take it by a tour de force, as we'll see also with the motor. So for us, it's about mapping out the strategy, building the strategy, working out what's required in the strategy and make it efficient. So with our system, we guarantee that you're going to get a 90% saving in time. And of course, if you compared it to going to external legal advice, not only would there be 90%, it's probably at 95% and also 90% cost reduction. And for that, you're all there. Now, again, it's great to do that, but without training and support, virtually it's impossible, because if I said go and do an SMSF loan, you go, well, okay, you understand, you've heard me say those sort of things in the road shows, but then when you come around to do the road shows, effectively, you get pumped up. This is a great idea. Then you go home, you don't know how to do it. Well, we do not release anything on the LightYear Docs platform unless first it's tested, and secondly, more importantly, we build a strategy flow, and then we do the training on it. And I'll show you a little bit later on when we go to the support center where you're going to go and find all of those. All you have to do to get that is just register. So if you really want to do yourself a big favor, sound like Molly Meldrum there, go in and have a look at some of those support center issues. And that saves us and saves you, because people come to say, they'll ask the whole of questions, can I do this, can I do that? So look, I cover all the highs, the lows, the strategies, the flow, everything in those videos. And more importantly, you watch how I build it myself. Now, it might take 40 minutes to an hour, but once you've done it, once you build it for yourself, you've got that embedded information. And more importantly, it's not only for you, it should be a training session. Use it as a training session for all your staff, so that you're building each week, we've got strategy upon strategy. For those of you, make sure that you register under LightYear Docs, and every Thursday we have a new release of a document package or a strategy package. So this week itself is where the rubber really hits the road. We're releasing our wills and testamentary trusts. Yes, we've already got that package there, but this is now the collateral. It's a letter to the client saying that we can now do wills and testamentary trusts for you. More importantly, this is what the costing is, and then they can go ahead and do a fact find, because an informed client is a client who'll always come back to you. So that's absolutely crucial from your perspective, not only increasing your revenue, but also driving it further. We've also got the same thing in terms of an EPOA, a letter, again with a fact find, and an SMSF will, or a binding death benefit nomination. We've got that with a letter and also as a fact find is there. So again, we make sure with client support that we've got letters and fact finds for you to basically use, so the whole process in the system works easy. But again, you're going to come across these issues, and you might say, a lot of people say, look, I've got this, blah, 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 what documents shall I use? Or more importantly, I've got a simple technical question, or I've seen I could show you some of our support queries, and you can just go straight online, hit the support, go through, and all of our staff at LightYear Docs get access. It pings on our computers, so we know when there's a support question. So when we go through that, you'll get if it's a really hardcore technical, then it goes through to me. So, for example, we had one the other day. In fact, it was only today. Someone wanted to do a deed of assignment in terms of a loan, and again, that's quite useful. You're not going to find that sort of document anywhere else in anyone else's system. So what we'll do is I'll go and build that document. It'll get signed off by Abbott-Family or the lawyers, our Tony and Mullis there, and then we put it up on the platform. We've had others. So this is a caring and sharing platform. So we've had Brian Wibley, who's a really good user, a licensee of ours up in Port Lincoln. Brian's given me a rural property lease, which he's built the lease, but then he unfortunately has to go to the local lawyer and is charged $2,500 for that. With that rural property lease, he's given it to me. I've got to build that at the moment, and then effectively from that build, what will transpire is then everyone gets a copy of that for, again, our maximum fee, unless it's a multi-document building like our commercial lease. The rural property lease, which is very sophisticated, great technology, is going to be there for $99. So again, we're starting to build that up, and look, if I had a look by this time next year, we'll end up with about 120, probably 140 documents, and probably about 15 to 20 strategy automations. So technical support desk, Grant, what do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? So on and so forth, we'll go through. As I said, we've got a long strategy runway for rollout. We've got business sale agreements. We've got assignment agreements, got the rural property. We've then got QROPs that has to be built into our deeds. We've got a whole lot of other long tail, winding up an SMSF. We just recently did, I've done a couple there, vesting of a trust, winding up of an SMSF is basically up there. There'll also be a long tail one, which is if a client dies, to essentially wind up and transfer their proceeds out of an SMSF into an SMSF death benefits trust, which you guys probably haven't heard about. Hopefully I'll get time to have a look at that, but essentially that's a leading member trust that pops out of the SMSF on the death of a member. That will also be available, but a process will be built for that, so that things, if a client dies, that once the trustee of the fund effectively gets the death certificate, the whole thing is completed. The whole SMSF is transferred out their benefits within the space of no more than a week, so that you're really on top of it. So it never really gets to family provision. But I mean, all this happens before they even look at the will. And another one is a lot of our stuff we're credited with the FPA and also the SMSF Association, and also with FASEA. With FASEA, of course, there's 5 categories, and we make sure, 4 categories, we make sure, for example, at the end of this month, for our LYD strategist members, we're doing a whole session on ethical aspects of SMSF and normal advising. So we've got to have 9 hours for ethics and professionalism, 5 hours for corporations regulations, and 5 hours of client care. We make sure that we've got all that. We're seeing a lot of people who are coming on board on our I Love SMSF who really want that sort of aspect to make sure they're covered by 30 June. Because if you're not covered by 30 June, you haven't done your 40 hours in all of those categories, because it's really easy to get the technical stuff. But if you haven't done your 40 hours, then you're named and shamed, which we don't want you guys to do that. Okay, so again, we do strategies as opposed to documents. No one makes any money out of documents, but you do make money out of strategies, and that's obviously. So the past is we talk the strategies, but we don't know how to build them. We flow chart them, we deliver. So there's a couple of aspects there. Because we build them long tail and collapse them really quickly, you'll find there's a 90% saving in terms of time. So they can be done really quickly. I mean, you can virtually sit in a client's office, do their, if they come to your office, do an EPOA, SMSF will, deed upgrades, and will and testamentary trust while they're sitting there, punch it out and give it to them at the end of that session in a draft form. Now, that's not going to happen anywhere else in the world, seriously. And in fact, our system has been recognised as being 2 years in front of other people who are doing robotic processing automation. So it's a very exciting technology that we're using. And effectively, it means that for you is that now you're able to bring everything in-house, deliver everything in-house, and delivering it correctly. Now, there will be some instances where you may, you've got to pull the line of where you think the compliance, and again, we've got a letter there to show you what is legal advice and what it's not. If you do believe you're over that line in terms of, for example, doing the moat, then there might be aspects of the moat, such as the Will and Testamentary Trust, we can sit down and have a Zoom conference with myself and Tony Animoulis, and the total cost is, for example, $495. But to do just a basic will with a testamentary trust built in, the cost is $99. But if you need it with sign-off from us and a client meeting, then it jumps up to, what's that? That's $594, and that includes testamentary trust and everything. So again, have a look at all that. We've got plenty of client collateral there. As I said, it's a good client, is the best client. If you've got multi-documents, you can do a great aspect. As I said, the full-blown ones, the maximum price you're ever going to pay is $450. Our investment strategy, which is a beast I'm going to show you shortly, is only $49. And then you've got things like SMSF loans, which are like 2 documents in one. You'll soon find out when we're about to do our establishment package for our SMSF, which is going to be if you want to go and do that lineage or bloodline, you'll be doing a leading member corporate trustee, a leading member SMSF, and investment strategy. So that's 3 documents. You'll be doing that for $250. So that covers your full establishment, and that will include ABN, TFN, the whole works. Obviously, you're going to have to pay the ASIC fee of $494 on top. But really, once you start to do that, it really gives you a sweet spot there, because remember, this is for bloodline and lineage planning. And of course, you've got your standard ones. They're exactly the same price, but really it enables you to upsell. And again, I encourage you to come to the 23rd and 24th of March. I think, as Ash said, there's 4 packages left. Anyway, we'll jump in. A couple of ones, though, is obviously I started the unlimited packaging stuff at Now Infinity, has now gone over to Class. So we're not really sure what is happening around that. Obviously, View Legal's not signing off, and we had a notification from Class who assured us that they still want us to be on the platform, but obviously we're supporting BGL as well. So it seems to me as though they're going down the track of making sure that they're really bought Now Infinity for corporate messenger. All the major players seem to be out. So again, for those of you who are Now Infinity people, happy to switch over. Our lowest fee is $595 per month if you want unlimited. Our maximum is $795 a month. That's if you want CPD and technical support. And that's across the whole firm. So again, we're there to maximise, give you a low base, enable you to go and do a lot of these strategies and make money out of it. If you want, we've got a certain number of licensee packages. All of these are white labeled. So you just have, when you come on board, you give us your logo, and then you can put your logo, as I'll show you, you can put that up on the system. So everything is automatically white labeled. And if you're a licensee per annum, it's $6,950, which seems to be extremely popular. Anyway, let's just jump out of here and go and have a look at a couple of things for you. What I've got here is I've got all the LightYear suite. So here, if I just go home, there's a couple of things. I'm logged in as LY strategist, which ordinarily that is $795 per month. And again, there's no lock-in contracts. You're not there for a year. If you want to just do it for 2 months, do a whole lot, and then jump off and come back a little later on, absolutely just go through that process. But again, it's up to you. I think with all the strategies you'll see, you want to make sure that you're continuing down there. Now, you can either go in the product categories. So, for example, remember I talked about the SMSF loan. You can see the SMSF loan agreement, a personal guarantee, NDA and confidentiality agreements, they cost $0. Absolutely important. Do those. If a client comes in, you're talking about a strategy, make sure you do that for the client so the client actually understands you're giving away some of your IP. But more importantly, they don't go down the local or back to their accountant and says, oh, blah, 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 has done that, because otherwise they breach the NDA. Commercial property lease, deed of gift, which is really important for those of you with UPEs. You've got Div 7A loan agreement, all purposes, services agreement, blah, 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 mortgage deeds. So you've got a whole range there. We've got, I don't want to spend too much time on that. I just want to take you through. You've got a whole range of trusts there, trust variations, which you see change of trustees, addition to designated beneficiaries, deed of succession, which is really important for those who've got current ones. Given the information that we've had a look at, I'll look at the support centre very shortly. You can go on and have a line, and virtually you can upgrade the whole of your discretionary trust deed if you want. Superannuation unrelated investment trust is great for property development. You've got fixed trust there for New South Wales if you want to make sure that you can get a land tax threshold just for that trust. It's a unit trust. It's not a discretionary trust. The leading member, when I talked about that, that's really bloodline and lineage. Great little one here, related trust, discretionary trust vesting, non-foreign purchases. As I said, there's a lot of stuff there. And again, if you've got something, it's best to come to us and simply say, look, Grant, I want you to blah, tell me about this or what should I be using. And I'm more than happy to do that. Normally you just go in the support center. That pops up here. So if I have a look here, this is my support center. So you can see here, we've got a document asset to be acquired for Daniel Abbott. And then obviously what we'll do is I'll come back and have a look at that and follow that up. So again, as I said, this pings into us. We've done more than 3,000 queries coming on in the last few months. So the support center there, once you're logged in, all our training videos, as I said before, you can see them all down the bottom. You've got the training videos, promissory notes, so on and so forth. These are the really things, all the strategy webinars. So the leading member deed of variations. If we have a look at the moat, succession, estate planning, I'm going to give you a bit more, but if you're really keen on doing the moat, go and have a look and you'll find there that I've done a video on that, talked about where it comes in, so on and so forth. And we've got also other ones, you know, we've got installment warrants over, which for me, I think this is the one I love. Installment warrants, too expensive. You went and do this, you do it over shares. Client's got, is under 50, got $100,000. Now listen to this again. $100,000 to put into super, non-concessional contribution, don't contribute all in. If it's all going to go into shares or an ETF, simply put half in as a NCC, half in as a related party loan. Use our package there. You'll see that here is in our strategy automations. So you'll see here, strategy automations there. We've got a related party LRBA, that's for property under the ATO guidelines. This is for shares. Again, $450. But if you want to do a few of those for clients, remember their collections, have a look at that video. You can do as many as you want as unlimited. Good thing if you're unlimited, just simply go on, download all the documents and, you know, you're basically off and running. So if you have a look at it, that's a really good one because it means that a client who's under age 50 can put money into super, but they always got access to 50% of it as well. If you're doing property, you can up to 70 or in some instances 80%. So all of these are there. We've got leading member kits. You know, if you want to upgrade your existing SMSF deed and corporate trustee to leading member for control, then basically you're there. We've got heaps of stuff around estate planning, I think. You know, anything to do with SMSF, which is about 30% of our documents are sitting there. All promissory notes, holding trusts, estate planning, they're all sitting there. But again, feel free to just see this little button down here. You can actually have a look at the support, just in contact us. How can we help you? Want to do any attachments, go in there. And that then pops up straight away in our system. So again, we can be well and truly on top of that. So let's just have a look here. I've got a SMSF strategy for a fund. This is one that I did one recently. For you. So to get a new document, so I've done a couple. All I need to do is, you can see I've popped up here. I've got LightYear Docs demo. I'm an LY strategist. I want to do an SMSF loan. I like using this because I sort of know what's in there. And up will pop the SMSF loan agreement. Because I have a LightYear strategist, although the cost of it is $99, as you can see down here, but I can start as many as I want. So I can put it into, I'm going to put it in the Abbott-Family. You can see there, I just open it up, start, and that pings me straight in. And now I've got a new system. So a couple of things while I'm doing it here, I'll come back and have a look. You've got the document set up. Now this is going to go in the Abbott-Family folder. So I'm going to go SMSF loan to family trust. Now here you can put down our Abbott-Morley, AM001. See that down here, it says AM001. You can put that in, that's a logo tag. But if you've been given a logo tag because you want the white label, you're a subscription. Unfortunately, we can't do it for PAYG users. If you just continue doing, if you're on a subscription or you're a licensee, then effectively you can white label all your documents, or simply put the legal sign off if you want, or alternatively not have any sign off. And again, it doesn't take that long. So you've got the lender in there, you've got the borrower, got the agreement details, and then that will then lead us to obviously the mortgagor. So that's how quickly it is. At any point in time as you go through, because this is a legal system, it's used by 1.3 million legal firms around the world, but we're just using a more sophisticated way. It's like having a legal office in your office. Save answers along the way. And if you save the answers, it means when you come up here, you'll see it's my in progress docs. So if you're halfway through, there's a bit of information you don't know, then that's fine. You can always check your document preview at any point in time. See that little button, document preview. You've got these fields because I haven't put that data in there as well, but you've got the guts of the document basically sitting in there if you want to be a bit of a spot and have a look. Back to the interview, then I've obviously got here all my answer summaries. Now you can see here, all those answers haven't been completed, but I can go back to the interview. And of course, I can always finalize that and then find it in the vault. So for example, if I have a look here, I've got my investment strategy in January. I've got there, I'm just going to take you through. Now, what we need to do is put in the name of the fund, what date the fund was established, what's the current income year. So I'm doing this for 2020, if you can see this. I could go back and do it, say, look, I'm worried about 2014. I can do it for 2014. Now, this is the funds. I'll just get my little annotation there so you can have a really good look at that. So I probably should have got it before so you can follow the bouncing ball if you're like me. So you can see here, this is our custom objective, but if you want to transfer that, if you want to put your own objective in there, then that's fine. But particularly if you're using, for example, short-term trading or rural property leases, a lot of our people want to do it. So someone comes up and says, look, Grant, can we do our own customized? Then we actually do it. So it's not stock standard. We're actually building multi documents in here, which you'll see. So has the trustee of the fund received a diversification letter? So for those 17,700 people who received that, then effectively you want to tick that yes, because that will then pop a whole set of clauses or copy into the investment strategy that covers that specific issue. Now, if you've got an earlier strategy, here I've got a whole range of them. You can see I've ticked yes. Do I want a deed of rectification and ratification? So what that does is it says, oh my God, look at these four, the last four, and basically I do that because remember, this is a 2020 investment strategy. I'm building this. And by building this, what I'm doing is I say, look, this investment strategy has to be backdated. I can't legally backdate it. So remember I said, I could go back and do 2015 or 2016. What I've done here is I've actually done a deed of rectification. That is what I had in place before. I'm really not relying on that. This is an updated investment strategy for that period in time. And also then the trustee ratifies it and says, well, yes, this is what it's going to be. We've got the trustee details, company name. We've got John Smith. Alternatively, I could have had an individuals. We have the trustee meeting. So where's it going to be? Usually it's going to be in your office. The member superannuation interest. So we have a look at the member. We've got age 62. He's got a pension. Doesn't have an existing insurance policy. So they basically put in there. Now the reason, because he's done a pension, then we've got a different copy that will pop up in the cash flow, which is required under section 52B. 2F, that the trustee needs to cover insurances, which is regulation 409, and also cash. So by doing this, we actually come up with separate clauses, which I'll show you. Cash strategy, again, you can't put specifics, it never works. It's between 10 to 30%. Obviously no international cash, so I put 0 there. I've got fixed interest. I could put non-applicable, but again, I prefer a 0 there. Equity strategy, I'm going to get a bit of diversification in there because primarily this is a lot of property, because remember I've ticked that I've got the commissioner's letter which says that I've got 90% over, which also means my borrowing. So, but if I receive extra cash this year, I'm going to start to diversify into equities. That's part of my strategy. I've got my property strategy, 70-90 is primarily residential. Does the fund invest more than 50% of its assets? Yes. So all this pops up. What's the residential property benchmark allocation? So it's here. So I could actually click each of these, and this will put in separate documentation there for us. Alternative strategy, if you want to put in a related party investment, so investing back in the shares of the company, so you're going to have no more than 5%. So I'll put there 0 to 5%, basically sitting in there. That's a related party investment I can do in that. Borrowing strategy, as I said before, you look at the total value of the assets of the fund, what the LVR is compared to the total assets, not that specific property we've got. So we've got between 40 to 65. Other assets, so do you want to build a custom asset so you can build as many as you want? So here I've got a custom asset, which is an SMSF loan to a related party. I've gone through, and this is my, I've put in the trustee of the fund has chosen to lend to a member's business, in a company. So you remember you can change this at any point in time, no more than 5%. Important compliance documentation, including loan and mortgage deed being prepared. What's the trustee time frame, so on. And I can continue add different custom strategies. So if you wanted to do, for example, if you wanted to do UK pounds, you're trading in that, then you put it in the custom. I prefer the custom to the alternative. It doesn't matter, have 15 or 20 of them. It's more sophisticated. It's also bearing in mind. So I've done that, I've pre-filled that. Again, it's not going to take you that long, and up will pop again. I could either say the answers or I'll do that, but up essentially will pop the document there. So it's just generating. I download it there. Remember, I had it in Abbott-Family, so you can actually start to see there. Here's the loan agreement between, oops, sorry, I don't know what happened there. This should be, where was that one? Okay, oops, so that's the loan agreement, sorry about that. So forget where I put that investment strategy. Oh gosh, it's gone from me. So it looks as though it, I had a bit, sorry, that is very unusual. So obviously I made a mistake. So this is what you do. You go in, see there, you go into My Vault. Now this one is under Grant's test. You'll see there I've got an investment strategy. And that was completed February the 4th. See there? So I'm not sure what happened there. It's because I had the loan agreement open. I can relaunch at any point in time. I can relaunch that one. So I'll just go through and relaunch it there. And this is all the information that I've just done. So I can go and change things if I wanted. So I can change the tag. I can do whatever I want. I can go finish because I've already done that. So this is actually going to now pop up that investment strategy. So again, if something, if you've got it, particularly if you have got that, everything is now saved into that vault. So you don't have to hook it up with, somewhere else. It's actually saved in the vault and it's saved there forever. So no more lost deeds. That's just part of the deal. Hooray. So there we go. The investment strategy. We go through a guidance statement, which essentially is all the commissioner's gump on that. So this is a pretty meaty strategy. We go through itself. So the trustee meeting, accepting the investment strategy, okay, that's basically we're going to do that. We go through the process, get it signed off by the trustee. We get the investment strategy. First, though, remember we did that deed rectification, ratification. For those of you unlimited, make sure you go through and do this so you really had an understanding of what's going on. So effectively, we're going through all these years. We're saying that the investment strategy that's to pop up shortly is really going to take over those early years. So we've got the investment strategy there. You can see that's the objective. We've got John Smith, who's taking a pension. Sally Smith, no pension, but she's taking insurances. So when we go down here, we've got a whole lot of risks. Borrowing to invest. Remember, we had the 40 to 65% LVR, mitigation of risks in there. We've got for property, we go through, what happens if there's a fire sale, so on and so forth. We've got the cash requirements. Now, the trustee fund is liable for the payment of pensions as requested. So again, they've turned their mind to cash needs, risk versus returns. You can see here we've got all your benchmark allocations, which is really what's required from the commissioner. As you see, we've got the customizable asset there, which you can do, and you can build hundreds of those. You've got your insurances for Sally Smith, but she's the only one being prepared, so the fund's considered for all the members. We've only put insurances for Sally Smith. We've got investment strategy, and I did tick options and derivatives. So in that one, that statement will pop up. So we've got options and derivatives. The latest ones I've got there, so this is a thing on residential pricing or residential property, so we put in a paper. So all of that is quite sophisticated. We've got a new one coming out which includes reserves, and if we're holding cash of more than 75% in a fund or 75% in equity. So again, what we're doing is we're covering this and it's all built into these investment strategies. And as you can see, if we go up to our LightYear Docs and we do investment strategy, someone actually asked me this the other day, I think it was Ashley actually. So we have a look at two strategies: investment strategy of the fund. That is where, for example, the trustee of the fund makes investment strategy, which we just do for the whole fund, or a member-directed strategy is a requirement for fund to prepare an investment strategy. Under LightYear Trustee, a separate investment strategy can be created for any member's interest. So, for example, you can have a general investment strategy for the whole fund, or you can have one just for one member or multi-members. For those in pensions, could have a separate one to those in accumulation, or if I'm just investing in an LRBA, it could be just solely for mine. But again, you can see there the costing is only $49. So let's go and have a look at, I think I've got a moat sitting up here somewhere. Did I have the moat member director? Blah, blah, blah. I'm sure I did it somewhere. Oh, look at that. Okay, so with the moat, it looks as though I'll see if I can find that. It's the, I think I did it in progress. So the Abbott-Family, nope, so it could be in the launch. If not, then I'm going to rip into it really quickly. I just want to show you briefly what it's about. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just do it straight off. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to build you a moat, product categories. I'm going to go straight down to estate planning. Remember, there's a whole hour video on this. We go down, we can see we then go comprehensive estate planning package, the moat. I'm going to start off. I'm going to build this for the Abbott-Family. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to call it the Abbott moat. So that's just punching out. This is a big one you're going to see. So I'm going to put the moat. I'm going to do it generally. I will want to do the legal sign-off because you'll see why in a second. So this is what it does, effectively all the parties. So if I looked at this for myself, I've got I'm in Queensland. So it's going to pop up and see there on the left, an enduring power of attorney for me in Queensland. Now, I can either establish a thing, or what I can do is upgrade the document. So I can do an establishment or build those. With the SMSF, I want to do a constitution upgrade. And in fact, I don't want a constitution. I'm going to upgrade to a leading member because that helps me with bloodline and lineage. I'm also going to upgrade the SMSF deed to a leading member deed. I want to do an SMSF will, which is a pretty sophisticated set of binding death benefit nominations. And also for the client, I want to do a will and trust. Now, can you see there, effectively I'm doing an EPOA. If it's a new fund I'm setting up, then I can do that. What I've got there is upgrading the SMSF deed and then doing a will and testamentary trust. What I do there is I'll then go through, I can just simply go next. And then what I'll do is I'll just punch in the next. So for example, I've got to put in all the common parties. So the common party would be, and I'm just going to run through quickly. So Grant Abbott, so I'll put 5 Abbott. And this is pretty quickly. I mean, if you took that to a lawyer, how much they're going to charge. In fact, we've just had last week 2 legal firms take up our package or license our package for their own process. So I'll go Sophia, oops, sorry, that's caps lock. So Sophia Abbott. So I'll just say 5 Abbott Street. So she lives in Melbourne. 3,000. So I didn't make sure I put this, otherwise it comes up as blank. Add another. So I've got an individual, got my Mrs. Amanda Abbott. And then I've got from here 5 Abbott Street, Sydney, New South Wales. 2,000, add another, put my daughter in there, Tiana Abbott, and then I can do 5, she's Melbourne as well. So we go Melbourne, and then I'm just going to show you really quickly what happens, and then 3,000, and then add another, and then I'm going to do a company here. So what's the full name of the company? I'm going to put Abbott nominees, ACN, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to have 5. I'll put your address, Smile Street. So this is my accountant's address where it is, 2000. And then I've got 2+ directors. I put 2 there. But this would be a leading member. I'd do a leading member upgrade. So I'd have, that way I control the whole process. But just like Abbott. Then I go Amanda Abbott, both sign on behalf. And then that's it. So now I just go through the enduring power of attorney. So I put in all the common parties. You actually put your firm in too, because that applies a little bit later. So who's the principal? Bingo, bango. There I go. It's Grant. Who's going to be my attorney? So the first one is I'm going to make Amanda, my wife, as the attorney. But then I'm going to have add another. So if I want to do another one, I'll just put there Sophia. And then I go down. So my personal. Are there any conditions need to be set for personal? No. Is there more than one attorney? No. Actually, I'll go just other. So that's fine. Oh, is there more than one? So no, I'll just go no. And then, so that's fine. And then I go replacement attorney. If there's incapacity, who's going to be the replacement? Is it enduring? Is it succession? I'll go yes. I'll go Sophia Abbott. And then I'll go Tiana Abbott. I should put the parties in, and that's okay from there. And I'll have it severally. Do we want to put in second replacement alternative? I'll say, well, no, I don't want to do that. And then financial matters. We've got the individuals. We've got, let's say, Sophia is going to do that. Does she want to have another? No. So financial matters. This is only for my super. So just tick the super one and also do that. You need to have quite separate ones there. Are there any other terms and conditions? No, no. When does it apply? Immediately, so she can come in if something happens to me. Do you want to point out if something happens to her? Is it going to be joint? No. Then I'm going to have Amanda popping in there. And again, no, there's not. Oh, actually, I'll go yes. If we want a second replacement alternative, say no. I'll choose Tiana for that. And no, she's about to turn 18. So then we go through the SMSF upgrade, and you can see we're going through all this process. We go down last wills, we can do SMSF wills, executors, the whole thing. So it probably takes about 15 or 20 minutes, and that's the moat. And then what we'll do is any point in time, we want to save our answers so we can come back to it a little bit later on, but have a look up in the support centre for that. What I want to do is just jump out. You'll see that there's a couple of things that I'm working on at the moment. One of the latest documents I've got, I should be up and releasing. This will come up to the hub that we had before. You'll see here, blah, 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 blah. I might not have that more documents. I'll just see if I got that. Oh, here we go. So this is one which is going to come up. I will be releasing this on Thursday. The SMSF Death Benefits Trustee. And so I won't take you through that, but this is one of our next releases on Thursday. It's leading member set law, so it's all there for the licensee, and I'll take you through what happens there. But essentially the recital is the primary beneficiary that comes out of an SMSF will or binding death benefit nominations has capitalised a trust with death benefits received as a beneficiary from the Smith Family Super Fund. So I'll go through that. Let's just have a look at the last few minutes. I'm looking at the protector. Essentially, it's the Abbott protector, Abbott Morley. We've got the common party being myself, and also then the leading member trust. I've already got that. So the documents I need, would you like to establish a trust? I'm saying no, because I've already got a leading member trust already, but I could set it up if I wanted to through that process. So again, I could put up a corporate trustee or a trust. So what this is doing is pulling out equity. So I need a certificate from the accountant that I'm solvent. I needed to have a deed of gift. So what I'm doing is I'm gifting all of the equity in my assets, obviously net of liabilities, into the trust, which I've already established, or I can go through the process. Then there's a promissory note, because obviously I'm not transferring those assets in. What I'm doing is I'm doing a promissory note, and then there's going to be a loan agreement back. So it's an open-ended promissory note, loan agreement coming back, a mortgage deed and a personal guarantee, because we want to make sure it's all up and above board and it's also kosher. And then what we do is we go through the documents. Now, obviously, we don't select a party. I could have put in here as a common party. I could have added another. I could have put in, you know, an individual accountant. And that could be 5 accountants, Road, Sydney, New South Wales, 2000. So then when I come round to the accountant, I could put that in, put in the accountant there. So that just follows all that through the firm name. So it could be Jim's accountant, and that's going to pop up in the solvency certificate. Then I've got the gifter, which is obviously me. So it's an individual, select a party. It's going to be Grant. Then there's not another. Giftee, oops, sorry, the giftee is a trust. So I can put the name of the trust or the SMSF. So what I've got here is I'm going to put the Smith, what do I mean, Smith, sort of mean, Abbott leading member trust. Got the company, so I've got the party, and I'd have the party that pops in. So you can see there's a couple of little tweaks there. This will be actually released, I think it's next week or the week after. Actually, I think it's next Thursday we'll be releasing the protector. So there's a few tweaks between now and then, but make sure again that you come online and have a look at that. So today we've had a brief look. Let's go back to the slides so we can wind you up. We've had a look at the investment strategy. I could take you through a whole leading member suite. There's a whole lot in our support center around those videos. There's also, for example, let me just get out of here. If I go back to the support center up here, you'll see that, remember I had a look at the moat. I can effectively, oops, I don't know what's going on there. So it looks a bit, it's, have a look at that anyway. That was Kelly's case, which is a bit of a radical one. If I have a look up here, what I essentially want to go back into is the LightYear Docs. You're going to see here where we're going to put together a whole lot. So we don't want the webinar and training videos. We want to have the strategy information and advice toolkits. So that's going to pop up there. So when we have a look at the toolkits, sorry, I don't know what's going on there. Okay, so LightYear Docs, that's it. So I've got got my little button thing, strategy info and advice toolkits. You'll see there's SMSF Will Client Fact Find, a whole lot of stuff for leading members, SMSF Investment Strategy Trustee Questionnaire, and also the review and recommendation letter. So if you want to do those, they're just in document form, go in, send them out, and then basically you can punch them through on our site. So if we just want to go back, just a couple of things. As I said before, low as $5.95 a month. Contact me, Grant at ilovesmsf.com, or alternatively, just my mobile 0418 735 491. Or alternatively, best just go on the support centre and just click through. You'd like to have a chat and make sure I do a good deal and you get up and running. What we need to do is get all your users. There's unlimited users. All those people can then get CPD and obviously give us your logo. So we can now set you up in white label, and that's all part of the process. As I said before, full legal sign-off comes from Abbott and Morley, who've been going on. It used to be TGA Legal, so it's been around about 4 or 5 years. Tony Anamorlis, if you want to get that letter of advice, Tanamorlis at abbottmorley.com.au, Tanamorlis at abbottmorley.com.au. We're partnered with BGL, CAS 360. So we're just finalising our ASIC integration, and we've already done the CAS 360, so that'll be up in the next couple of weeks. We've got, for those who are Now Infinity on Corporate Messenger, you need to stay on there and still be part of ours. You just need to obviously reduce your contract with Now Infinity. which effectively is now Class Super anyway. And just keep the important messenger, or we've got a really good special deal with CAS 360. So again, just let us know in the support centre, come up and we'll make sure we put you in touch with the right people. So the last one, we've got a huge list of strategy documents coming up from business sales. That watch out for the protector, make sure that effectively you, if you want to do that, just have a look at the front page of our site. You'll see there is registering for the next webinar. The next webinar this week is going to be on, what is it going to be on? Sorry, it's going to be on our letters for clients around SMSF wills. We've got the SMSF will fact find, wills and testamentary trust and letters for that, and fact find, EPO letter, and also fact find as well for that. So that'll be out, and I'll also go through the SMSF Death Benefits Trust. That's on Thursday. Just simply sign up there and bang, you're right into it for that. For that, the other one is, if I go back here, you're going to start to see that we've got, if you've got any tax or SMSF issues, contact Tony Animalis, so Tanawalis at Abbott-Family.com.au. We're happy to look at any of those, and you know, if there's something we can do and build up on the site, we will. But if it needs legal sign-off, then come to us. Client scenarios, contact myself or the team at LightYear Docs, go to the support centre. Alternatively, Grant at ilovesmsf.com. Two-day event, 23rd, 24th of March. There's 4 tickets left, $595, which is nothing. That's 11 CPD points. You're going to come out of that with an accreditation as a specialist succession estate planning advisor. You're going to know how to do the moat. You're going to need to have the protector. You're going to even know how to upgrade what a leading member suite. You're going to have a full armory there and really get out and start smashing it. The other one, finally, is don't leave your CPD until too late. You've got 5 months to complete a lot of hours. In fact, we're building a whole lot of it coming in, but if you're part of our platform, you're on the CPD side, you get unlimited users to get the CPD. More importantly, we guarantee to make sure we get you all of those other ones. You know, that 5 hours of client care, the 9 hours of ethics and professionalism, and also the 5 hours of corporate regulation. We've got a lot of that stuff coming up. So again, that's all provided through I Love SMSF, which is our sister company, part of the LightYear group. But anyway, it's now 12:30. It's time for me to depart. Thank you very much. If you've got any questions, I've got one question up here. Is there a promo code? Oh, sorry, Brendan Collins. So if you'd like to trial it for a week as a bonus, if you'd like to contact us, again, go back to Grant at I Love SMSF, or alternatively, just jump on here, go in. That was the bonus I was going to give you. Just go on to the home. You'll see there, go onto the chat, or you'll see our support, and just go on and effectively have a chat with that. And then what we'll do is we'll give you a 1 week sign on so you can have a good look around, and then use your unlimited documents. So again, that's a great little offer there. In fact, we might go from 1 week to 10 days. I'll have a chat with the guys. But again, if you'd like to have a full utilisation of that for the next week for a test, go and have a look. I tell you what, there's so much to learn there. Have a look at the support centre. You're up and running. Anyway, it's Grant Abbott signing off. Use the chat or the support to get your 1 week free trial. And looking forward to having you on there, Brendan. I think you're going to really, again, it's not about documents. It's all about strategies. In 2020, everything is about strategies. Anyway, it's Grant Abbott signing off.